Today we are going to be fitting side panels to our kitchen island, which has been a little bit bare for about a year now, just because we rushed to get it done for last Christmas and haven't sorted it out since. Let's get going. Okay, kitchen island cleared. First task is going to be to take off this laminate sticky chipboard, which we've actually just been using as a worktop temporarily. Then we're going to show you how to cut side panels, how to secure them together, as well as just some tips when cutting them so that we don't get any chipping on the edge, as well as just setting up and using the Evolution track saw or a circular saw if that's all you've got to complete the job. Okay, that vinyl was actually really hard to get off. I didn't realise how well my wife had stuck that down, which I guess is a good thing, but then also annoying when you need to remove it. So when we do our side panels, we don't know currently what worktops we're going to have. We're still saving up for those. So we are going to leave a full length side panel that comes out to here. Normally you'd use this opportunity to cut it down so that you've got the space to put your bar stools and it's more an open-ended island. But because we don't know the thickness of worktop we're going to have, we don't know how much overhang there's going to be, or what thickness of hopefully quartz there is to allow for that overhang. Normally when you're putting a worktop on, they say no more than, I think it's 30% of the width of the worktop should be overhanging. So yeah, we're just going to use the full side panel in this to bring it out as far as we can. And then it's a later day when we choose our worktops, we'll repeat this step and just cut it back. But at present we've just been storing the end panel and I don't want it to get damaged, so I'd rather fit it full size and then deal with that later. So as I said, full panel is going to come to the end and then it'll have the nice mushroom, I think is the colour, pieces running across the back and then another one coming out here. So you'll essentially have a small alcove where we'll be able to slide our bar stools easily and sit up here, use it more as a breakfast bar. We do have sockets that we will be installing. There's going to be one sat in the end panel here and one on the opposite end, so that whenever you're using George Foreman or whatever on the island, you've got access to those. You would normally fit these in trunking, so that it all looks professional and that it's properly signed off. But because we know we're going to be taking this chipboard off again, this is only a temporary solution, we are just going to run the cables within the island itself. You won't see them, so there's no dangers there, but to have that professional finish, you should be running those in trunking. I also think that's required to meet the building regs, so before we get final sign off, we'll fit our worktops and do that final step. But let's get out the side pieces and see what we've got. Okay, so we've got our pieces out now. We've got one large end panel. We've got two of these smaller panels which will sit at the back. They will require a vertical, I forgot what horizontal and vertical is. They will need a vertical cut because we put the two side by side. That's too wide for the gap we've got. And then finally you've got one that's going to fit on this end here, just to frame in this area. The reason I said we're going to cut this back when we do it is because you can't see it, but the other side of this is actually plain white, it's not coloured, so you would cut that to the relevant depth for your island, so you would see where the bar stools are, and then these pieces would join nicely up to that. When we do make that cut in the future, we run the risk of having small splinters of the finish, so the Wren kitchens do send you out with this, which is a piece of almost like waxy stuff that can be used to fill the joint, deal with any cracks. It's really useful when mitering corners on things like coving as well, just because if you don't get it spot on and perfect, you can just fill in that small joint. And then you also get a paint coloured pen in there as well, which is useful if anyone damages it, rams it with a bar stool leg or anything like that. When the kitchen turned up, we had loads of different fittings came with it. These are the only right angle brackets that it came with, which are obviously great for securing this piece to this one and in that back corner there. But they haven't sent me anything to deal with these two that need to join side by side. So have a rummage in the toolbox and see what we've got for that. Okay, next tip, we're going to be using the Evolution track saw. You notice when you look at the blade, which way the teeth run, that means the blade is going to be spinning in this direction. You want that to hit the laminate first, the side you will see first is what I'm trying to say. So that means when we're cutting this, we want the face that we're going to see to be face down on our sawhorses over here. Because we want that to be face down, I have just put towels and some cloths on top of the sawhorses, just so we don't have any scratches to the face we're going to see. The final step we're going to do to make sure that face that we're going to see doesn't splinter is we're just going to put masking tape across the bottom, which just helps whenever there's that small impact and it thinks it's going to splinter off. It just helps hold it in place. It means you get that nice clean cut and finish. So I'll bring you a bit closer to this one so you can actually see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to put the track tool on the tracks, make sure it lines up, lock the guard backwards, because I don't know what it is about the Evolution track tools, but the guard always gets stuck, so just watch out for that because you don't want to be moving your rail at all. Then whilst it's running, if you see me get the camera to point down, that'd be helpful. Stop. If you see me whilst I'm cutting it, once I pass the cut, I'm just going to reach behind and just hold there. This is slightly risky, you don't want the saw to jump backwards at all. I think I'll be okay. Just because I don't have anyone with me to hold this piece and stop it dropping at the end, and I don't want it to splinter off. So, let's get going. Here's an idiot's guide to DIY. When doing your cut, make sure that you've got the depth of your track saw is actually deeper than the material you're cutting. Otherwise it doesn't actually cut all the way through. Take 2. You can see the other finger on the camera there. Okay, just took you off so you can see the final cut. You can see this side where it's not masked. We did actually get a small splinter there, but that's going to be at the back and we won't see that. Whereas if we now flip it over, because we cut from that back piece, peel this off, because that's where the saw hit first and the masking tape's been there, we now all the way across, I think that's just dust, yeah that is, we do now have a nice clean cut with absolutely no chips, and that's the bit you'll see. So that's where putting the masking tape on and flipping the board over is really important. It's actually only green on that side and not that side, so the way it flips up, that's my front and that's my back, so it does matter which end you take the cut off, because now I'm going to have a nice finish at the top and my cut is going to be on the bottom. Now I'm not expecting it, but should I get any damp from washing the floors or whatever, I don't want that to sit on there. So before I put this on the floor, I am just going to paint PVA across that open edge just so no water can penetrate that wood and make the MDF expand, or whatever it's made out of. I think it is MDF. Okay, so literally for sealing it, we just got some Gorilla Glue. You could just mix this with water as well, but we are literally going to dab this on, run it all the way along. Yeah. Let's get a little bit more down there. Put that down. Now I've just got a paintbrush. I'm literally just going to spread it out so that I don't get any lumps and bumps. But so all of that base, once that dry, is completely sealed. This set's clear as well, which is quite nice, so you won't even see it. We're just going to paint that on all the way across and make sure it is all nicely sealed up and there's no wood exposed, so that should we get any moisture down there, it's not getting into my kitchen. Now the glue is dried on the bottom of this one, it's all ready to fit. We cut the wrong side of it, so we've got the green at the front, which means that is now going to be the bottom. When we slide it into place, we want to line it up with the front of the drawer here, so we've got a nice finish with the existing cabinet. And when we secure it in with our screws, we're going straight through this cabinet into this piece here. So we want a screw length that is not just going to go through the cabinet, it's going to go into our end panel, but not push all the way through. Because these cabinets already have drill holes in them for the shelves, we don't need to drill pilot holes because we've already got existing holes we can use, and then we've got stickers the same colour as the cabinet to hide them. We will just need to pull the drawer open to be able to access the bottom, but I think about 4 screws will probably hold this one in just fine, and then we can measure up and fit the others at the back. Okay, when I said earlier I was going to use some brackets to secure the back, I don't really know what I was thinking, because there's enough space in the void that we actually have leftover 2x2s from building the cabinets. So we've attached them, and now we've got a nice rigid 2 pieces stuck together. So if I can find my way around the mess, it should lift nicely into place. So there we've got the nice join down the middle. It also helps because I have something to hold on to. Now that is how it will sit. I might just put another screw in there just to pull that into line. And then I've got enough space in the void that I can put the right angle brackets behind to hold that into place. And then we just need to secure our socket in place here. And then our final one is going to go here so that you can access it from outside of the island, because this is all fully boxed in. Then we just need to cut this down to height, and then that's us done. Okay, so now we're wiring in the sockets. Thankfully, I didn't have to break up a new reel of wire because I had a leftover piece from when the electricians were here. When you get your wire, it will be like this. If you've got a pair of wire strippers like this, you're very simply going to clip your wire in, like so. Pull the handles down, and that breaks the joint. And then pull that bit away, throw it off, split these out. You've then got your live, neutral and earth. Don't forget that your earth will need a bit of sleeving over it, which is the, I think it's yellow and green. You'll probably shout at me in the comments if that's wrong, but that just needs a bit of yellow and green shielding over the top of it. Then we can wire it into our sockets. Our socket's part of the ring main, so this piece is just connect between the two sockets so that we still have the into the island and then flowing back out of the island. Let's get going. Right, back on day 2 because I decided to stop and have a curry, and also the kitchen's a mess and I couldn't be bothered to tidy it up for the video. So now we're on selfie mode. Squat down. Cut a hole for the double socket, but we just bought the normal Patras boxes, which were designed for drywall. So I went back to B&Q and just swapped over for some deeper ones, which was a better idea. And then if I make my way over to where we're having our other socket, which is on this end, due to where the cabinets sit, there's not really room to get a double socket in there and have it in the middle. So I just went with a single. And my mother-in-law's dog has come to inspect and approves. Okay, that's all done. You can see where I drilled my holes in this just to be able to get the jigsaw in there nicely. I can still see a little bit of the box at the top, but I'll tidy that up when we get new worktops. And obviously, I'm just going to line these up so they're both horizontal because that's a pet hate of mine. So we've got the single on that side. This will be in trunking when we get our worktop done. And then we've got our double here. This double did get dropped and it's broken, so I just won't use that side for now. We're going to replace them all with brushed gold ones anyway to match all the cabinet handles. But again, all wired in nicely. Yeah, pretty ready to turn the power on and just give that a little test. Also, once I put this worktop in place, I do need to do an obscene amount of dusting because there is dust everywhere. First of all though, let's get this chipboard in place. Just going around the outside now, just with a finger and making sure that it stays pretty square to the worktop. I don't think anyone's going to notice with it being temporary, but it is nice to walk in the room and just have pretty identical overhang either side. I'm going to try and wrap the vinyl around the edge this time, because we did find we were catching our clothes just on the edge of the chipboard. It's just causing it to bobble a little bit, so we're going to try and wrap that round. If we don't manage that, we'll probably just sand it slightly, just because when the bar stools go there, we don't want to have any damage. The rack we're using is exactly the same as what we've used before, which is on the worktops in the background. It's from B&Q. It's about 10 a roll. That stuck to my finger. It's really easy to install. Hopefully now I've said that, I don't cock it up on the video. Annoyingly, our temporary island is about 1.2 wide. I'm pretty sure it's a sheet 1.2 by 2.4. We just cut about 30 centimetres off the end. It doesn't quite do it in one piece. I could do stripes this way, but then it wouldn't match what we've got going on at the side. So let me get a Stanley blade and get fitting. Final product, socket on there. Ignore the pile of mess that I swept up. A couple of chairs. And our socket under there. Onto a nice end panel and another pile of dirt that I need to sweep up.